Nick Carter from Backstreet Boys.
Shout out to Boy Band Break.
It's Chris Kirkpatrick here. Shout out to your podcast, Boy Band Break.
Everybody, this is Howie D, and I'm listening to Boy Band Break.
Hi, Ashley Parker Angel here. Huge shout out to the Boy Band Break podcast.
This is Brad from LFO, and you are listening to Boy Band Break.
Hey, what's up? This is Jacob.
It's Dan.
What's up? It's Trevor.
And it's Eric Michael, and it's time for Boy Band Break, baby. Let's go!
Bam, 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 bam.
Welcome back to Boy Band Break, where we encourage you to take a break from your day and join us in some boy band conversation. As always,
I'm Sophia.
I'm Chinzia.
And I'm Lydia, aka Mama Lou. Welcome, guys.
Welcome back. Diane is not joining us today. She is a teacher, so she's off writing report cards and trying to get them done before the deadline. So good luck to that.
Positive vibes, Diane.
There you go. You got this, buddy.
Woo.
Sorry. So what was I going to say? Oh, first of all, before we get into anything, a very exciting milestone happened this week, guys.
What?
So thanks to all of you, we have finally hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yay!
What is this? 5.5 years in the making, or?
I know, right?
We've only been on YouTube for what, like maybe 2.5 years, because we used to be on SoundCloud before that.
That's true.
And then we started like putting them up on YouTube, so that it's there. We're now on Anchor, but we're obviously available anywhere you listen to podcasts, Apple Music, other places like that.
It looks like this. Sorry, I was trying to.
Spotify.
I'm trying to
showing
show
us what YouTube looks like. Okay.
Yeah.
No, this is our channel. You think?
Oh, okay.
And all the links are all in our link tree. Oh my God.
Yes.
I almost forgot what it was called.
BANDBREAK. So huzzah. Thank you everyone for subscribing. We appreciate it. Please
we appreciate you all.
So, I feel that now that we've hit the 1,000, it's getting like faster to get us more. So
it is
which is good because then we won't fall below the 1,000 threshold. So
yeah.
So welcome to all fans. Anyone who is new to this podcast, we are a boy band podcast. We talk about boy bands.
And adjacent.
Mostly like the 90s, 2000 boy bands, but we also talk about like the 80s ones and things like that. So for today's episode, we decided to go back in time a little bit, but not as far back from our time period. Sorry. Before I get there, I know we haven't done birthdays in a while, but there's like a couple of birthdays like today as we're recording. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys. He's 43. So happy birthday, Nick.
Happy birthday. We can't wait to see you.
Yes, we miss you, Nick. We will see you soon, hopefully. Joey Fatone from NSYNC is also celebrating birthday. AJ from the Backstreet Boys had a birthday a couple days ago, and then that other fellow from NSYNC is having.
You meant a couple weeks ago for AJ? Yes. It's January 9th. Yes.
Yes. So AJ had his birthday, and then the other gentleman from NSYNC is also having his birthday.
Who's the other gentleman? The butler?
The other gentleman is Justin Timberlake. You know this?
Oh, yeah. I'm like, the other gentleman. I'm like, there's no gentleman in NSYNC.
There definitely is not. Anyway, so anyways, lots of birthdays for boy banders. I don't know if that's like a trend. Maybe there's a thing with like a lot of January birthdays. I don't know. Maybe
January's make songbirds, I guess.
Yes, there you go. Anyways, so probably a couple of weeks ago, I just happened to be on Netflix, and I was scrolling by just to see random things. And in the suggested for you section, there was a One Direction movie, and I was like, "Oh, I actually don't recall this." So it's called One Direction. This Is Us. So it is a documentary style movie. And I guess this probably came out in theaters. I would assume.
Yes, I believe so, because I feel like it was a big deal back on Twitter back then.
So yes, I looked it up. It came out in 2013, and now that it's 2023, it's 10 years later. So I'm like, oh, why not? Let's do a review of this. So,
I'm sure that aged well.
I'm sure it aged super well. So let me just share my screen here. So I'm just going to share the Wikipedia page to kind of give us a little bit of background behind what is going on. And what
that Netflix algorithm got you pegged for a boy band fan.
Damn that Netflix, man. Damn it. Okay. So One Direction, This Is Us is a 2013 3D documentary.
Okay.
That now makes sense. Okay. I was trying to figure out why it looked like that, but okay.
Same.
That makes sense.
Oh my God. That makes sense. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Too bad you can't watch 3D at home. I don't know. Maybe people have fancy TVs.
If you had like glasses,
I don't know.
I know it's at the theater, but could you imagine if you had them at home?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those like tinted ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
the blue and the red
The
ones.
old
Those-
school
No,
blue
those
red or
are-
like the
Whichever ones, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So it is about British boy band One Direction. It opened in the UK on August 29th, 2013, followed a day later in the United States. The film follows the group in their Take Me Home tour. It was a commercial success and grossed $68 million worldwide.
Ah,
I am
Beautiful.
gorgeous.
I'm sure all the fans went multiple times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or watched
probably
it multiple
true.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have done that too if Backstreet
course.
Boys did that. Yes.
Definitely would have.
Well, we did. What am I saying? We did do that. Yes.
Henry came out.
Yeah.
We
So
did
we did do
fly
that.
to LA to
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
and then we
that's
saw
true.
it a second time in the theater there. But it
Exactly.
wasn't like commercially available. Like
Well, then I went in Toronto and saw
Yeah.
it the week later. So
Yeah.
I've
oh, it was still in
yes.
Toronto.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went. That's where I went. I went to
Yeah,
Toronto.
you went for the premiere day in Toronto. That's
Oh,
when
okay,
you went,
cool.
Lydia. So
Yeah, and then there was like a week later they had it in like a small theater that we went to. in
oh, okay.
college area. Yeah. So
Well, there you go.
basically,
So-
it's me. There you go.
I'm the problem. It's me.
Me.
See? It's all
So
good.
Sophia has seen it multiple times. I think I saw it just the 2 times in LA in the theater. Once with the boys in the theater with us. Once later where I was very tired and may have partially napped during the Backstreet Boys. What was their documentary called? Show Me the Meaning?
Show 'em what you're made of.
Yeah.
Show 'em what you're made of. Yes, that's right.
I watched it in Toronto with Kenny, and Kenny very
Wonderful.
much enjoyed it.
Very much. And then we also watched it online too afterwards. Or
Yes, we did.
Yes.
We watched it at your house. Yes.
Yes.
And then we were like flicking to make sure that we saw like our signs and like we see like a little bit of our heads and our arms. Yeah.
the very end, we're like, there we are. We're in the crowd. Look at the signs. It's us.
Yes.
Yes. So that was for the Backstreet Boys one. We are
Yes.
not in the One Direction one that I.
What? We're not One Direction big super mega fans.
Yes. So, well,
If you're new to our podcast, this is what we do. We go off on tangents or
Sorry.
Yes.
So, all right. Shall I continue?
Yes,
yes,
please.
sorry.
Synopsis: Billed as an intimate, all-access look at the life on the road for the global music phenomenon, This Is Us. Pause for a second. I know I'm tangenting again. So obviously, This Is Us is the name of a TV show which came out.
No,
after
this is also a Backstreet Boys
I was
album.
gonna say,
Okay.
it's an Backstreet Boy song.
It's a song, right? Not an album.
This is us. This
Yeah,
is
This Is Us.
Yeah,
Unbreakable, This Is Us. This Is Us
Yeah.
album.
Oh, it is an entire album. So there's
Yes.
Backstreet Boys album.
Album
Came
and
out
then a
before or
song.
after this.
I believe this came after.
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter because obviously This Is Us is just. a
When
thing
did
where
This
people-
Is Us Backstreet Boy come out?
It was 2009.
20. No, never mind. Nope. Maybe you're right. Yeah, because this is like, did you mean This Is Us, the Trevi dramedy special? It's like, no, I didn't mean that.
No.
Anyways, yeah, you
Because
probably.
that was
anyways,
This
Backstreet
Is
Boys
Us
album
was
is-
a
Is that
album
one of
with
the ones
not
without
Kevin.
Kevin?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, is it the? Oh, yeah, that's right. This is where bigger.
This Is Us.
You
Yes.
are correct. Yes,
Thank you so much.
and that song did come out in 2009.
Yes. Woo! I'm still good with my BFB.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
oldness has not got me down yet.
No,
What do we
exactly.
used to call you? Our Backstreet Google?
Backstreet
Yeah.
Google.
Oh,
Backstreet
okay.
Google is Sophia.
Yeah.
She has no.
So I'm still, my brain is still working a little bit.
All right, good job.
Okay, so This Is Us follows the lives of the 5 members of the boy band One Direction. One Direction was first put into a group on the X Factor in 2010. This Is Us contains live footage from the Take Me Home tour at London's O2 Arena and footage from their lives pre and post X Factor appearance and gives insight to the preparation of their concerts and ultimately what it's like to be in One Direction. Okay, shall I read the other? Yeah, okay, do it quick. So This Is Us was first announced by the band while on the Today Show New York on November 12th, following confirmation to be directed by Morgan Spurlock. Spurlock, who unsuccessfully negotiated to direct similar films, Justin Bieber, Never Say Never, it has a very Never Say Never 5, and Katy Perry, Pardon Me, said he took on the film because of the fans' fast-tracked rise to stardom. The film started filming in Tokyo on January 17th, 2013, and was being shot in 3D with 4K resolution Epic digital cameras, which said gave it a cinematic appeal. The film was later given the name One Direction, This Is Us on March 19th, 2013, previously referred to as 1D3D. Majority of the movie was shot in London at the O2 Arena in early April. It's further said the film is not scripted, with footage genuine and of them acting naturally. Stiles admitted that the cameras following them around was scary, but said that the film gives them the opportunity to show more personality, how they interact, and how they relax when not on stage. Now remarked that the film crew had access to all areas, even filming them in the toilet. Okay. Scenes shown in the trailer include footage of fans telling stories related to the band, following a request posted on YouTube, as well as comments from Simon Cowell, who was their mentor on X Factor and also a producer of the film. The world premiere of the film was held in Leicester Square in London on August 20th, 2013. The film was released in the UK on August 29th and rolled out internationally on August 30th, with a majority of markets being reached by the end of September. That's interesting. So it only started filming in January and it was already out in August. So that's a pretty quick turnaround time.
They gotta be with these.
Unlike the Backstreet Boys one that seemed to film for years and years and years and then promised us all this footage and then never did. Yeah, anyways, whatever.
Yeah.
Not bitter. Eventually.
The things that we go through as a BSB fan. Yes.
Marketing.
We love them. We love them.
Yes.
I think with these bands, you kind of have to do.
You have
don't
to do
know
it
if they're
fast, right?
Yeah, you don't know if they're gonna be
the
flash in the
fad,
pan.
right? Like Pogs or something. Like you need to like really like get in before it like.
BSB has Kevin. Kevin's like a perfectionist, so
yes,
that's probably why.
Yes. Okay. As part of the marketing campaign, the band allowed fans to upload pictures of themselves that would appear on a version of the theatrical poster. The theatrical poster itself had pictures of fans forming the background, with another version created displayed the band's website, where the photos were used to recreate the poster itself. After initial teaser trailer was released on February 8th, followed by secondary trailer on June 25th, the second trailer also teased a snippet of Best Song Ever, the lead single from their third studio album, Midnight Memories, which was released November 25th, 2013. This Is Us grossed $28.9 million in North America, $38.5 million in other countries, for a total of $67.3 million. It is currently the fourth highest grossing concert film. That's pretty cool. Like
that is good.
Wait, what's not 1 and 2? Like Elvis and Celine, probably.
Who knows, man? I have no idea.
Maybe like
definitely in sync at Madison Square Gardens.
Could be, yeah.
That was a good
one. Yeah,
one.
that's true. It made a net profit of $18 million when factoring all the expenses and other revenues. Okay, so it was still $50 million to make it, essentially, is what it's saying. They scored $2.7 million on their Thursday debut, topped the box office that opening weekend with $17 million, far better than other concert films like Katy Perry, Part of Me, Glee, the 3D concert movie, and Jonas Brothers, the 3D concert experience. Oh, we have not watched that.
No, we have not.
Check that out. Add that to the list, Lydia.
I'm adding it to the list right now.
Joe Bros. We do have other Joe Bros things, like their actual documentary and things, so you can go check that out in our past episodes. But it was not enough to surpass Justin Bieber, Never Say Never.
I knew it.
Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus, Best of Both Worlds, and Michael Jackson's This Is It. Makes sense. This Is Us is the third concert film to top the box office after the Hannah Montana and Michael Jackson films. According to Forbes, it would top.
Hannah Montana was popular.
Yeah, she was.
Hannah Montana was popular. Yeah,
sure. Yes, 18 million. It would own blah blah blah. Okay, whatever. Grossing 6 times its budget.
Hooray!
Then I don't know. Okay,
I think that's good. You did a good job.
There was some critical responses. Blah blah blah.
Wait. What's the critical response? Is it the same thing as me?
On Rotten Tomatoes, the film had an approval rating of 64% based on 91 reviews, with an average of 5.8 out of 10. The website's critical consensus reads, "It's mostly for the converted, but One Direction, This Is Us will be fun for fans, and it offers just enough slickly edited concert footage to entertain the casual viewer." On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 49 out of 100, based on 27 critics indicating mixed or average reviews. Audiences on Cinescore gave the film a grade of A to an A+ on the F scale. On the A+ to F scale, the audience was 87% female, 56% under the age of 17. Seattle Times gave it a rating of 2 out of 4 stars. Roger Moore felt is not that different from the Justin Bieber doc or the Jonas Brother and Miley Cyrus
Ouch.
concert films.
Ouch.
Sanitized package presenting these 5 British or Irish boys aged
Or
19
Irish?
to 22 as paragons of pop virtue, while others vouch for what rebels they are and that they have an edge. Finally adding, it's a chipper, cheerful portrait with nary a discouraging word in it. The tunes are catchy, the boys have charm, a little wit about them, and some stage presence, even if their shows have all the spontaneity of a McDonald's menu.
Oh,
Not
That
their
is
fans want to
harsh.
hear that or hear that they have a limited shelf life. Oh no, they will never let us forget. It's a teenage girl's world. We're just all wearing earplugs in it.
ouch. Ouch.
Wow, that's
Well, yeah,
mean.
there, Roger Moore. Yeah. New York
Sassy.
Daily News.
But he's
gave a
probably
more
old,
positive
right?
Rating.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's
probably
probably
an old man.
old, so he's probably like doesn't like boy bands, obviously,
That's
right? Yeah.
not entirely wrong.
True.
New York Daily News gave the positive rating of 3 out of 5 stars. Jim Farber felt, to their credit, the guys decided to devote more than half of the film to backstage antics and talks, as opposed to Justin Bieber, whose live 3D film nervously stuck to the stage. While One Direction came off as fun and likable, no one will mistake their quips for the inspired absurdism of the Beatles in A Hard Day's Night. Nor will they take Spurlock's routine camera work for the pop panache of Richard Lester.
I don't know
Washington
that.
Post critic Stephanie Mary felt, to add a bit of emotion, the film hears from the boys' mothers and follows the 5 as they take a break from touring to return home. But for the most part, the movie embraces harmless fun, which can be enjoyable for the audience members, whether they're 1D fans or not. Finally adding, some of the boys have made gossip rag headlines for their wild ways, including drunken behavior, but there's no hint of that here. Maybe showing those details carries the risk of alienating One Direction's fans when the guy's saying, I'm in love with you. The you is meant to be each starry-eyed listener. But the absence of certain truths make the movie feel more like marketing material for superheroes than a comprehensive documentary about human dimension. If One Direction fans end up having inordinately high standards when it comes to love, Spurlock is partly to blame. So, yeah, not bad. There's like 2 more. Do you care about?
Nah, we got the gist.
Anyways, that's the gist of it. So the adults don't really care that much. They think it's more for the fans, which is not entirely wrong. So
True.
We're watching this as adults, so we'll see how it goes from there. So
there we go.
Ready to go. So I wrote copious amounts of notes that hopefully.
Oh my god!
I wrote a few notes. Like I wrote like point form notes of like what's going on. I wasn't like in depth in the notes. Just like,
I
wrote
am a terrible
digital
note taker, people. Like I
I
cannot.
just have a lot of notes.
I have never
Okay.
had notes.
I have pages of notes, but they're point form. Okay.
Me too.
Yes, me.
So between the 3 of us, it should be, good.
We're gonna regale you with the One Direction movie.
Tale
Let's
of
go.
One Direction. And
That's
the
right.
movie's about an hour and 45 minutes if you want to watch it.
Hour 20, isn't it?
45
Ooh.
ish.
Okay.
Yes.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's the One Direction, This Is Us documentary. So it starts off and they're showing pictures of the boys as kids. And then also they're all kind of talking. So
you
it's
don't know
got-
who's talking. You're like, who the hell is talking? Because
Okay, for those who do not know who One Direction is, that's
Yes,
the point. Maybe I should.
Can you bring up a picture because
I will bring up a picture.
Lydia also got confused. I'm like, I know 3 of them, and then the other 2 are just they kind of just look the same. I know
They're like
Zayn.
blends.
I know three
And
of them,
Harry.
but the others just look the same. This is probably.
I don't know,
You're the best.
No, but I'm just like, who's this one again?
In Lydia's defense, she never knows who anyone is in any
It's
of
true.
the bands.
It's true. It's
that
not.
they're
I'm not
in,
trying.
so.
I'm not trying to throw shade, guys. I'm just actually.
Okay, so here's some
That's true.
pictures of One Direction.
Okay. Wait. Okay. I'll try.
So the other
Liam?
2.
So the one in the
Niall?
blonde one is Niall Horan.
Damn it. Okay,
So
Niall.
he has had a successful solo career
yes.
after this. Liam Payne is the next one.
Oh,
Zayn Malik.
Zayn.
Zayn Malik also was the first to leave the group, so
Yes.
he did his own solo career. Louis
Harry.
Tomlinson.
Oh, is that Harry?
Nope. And then Harry Styles is at the end of this picture. Let me pull up a different picture where they have slightly different hairstyles.
So which
Oh my
2 did
God.
you think were the same?
Okay.
So
Okay,
in this picture, Lydia,
yes.
can you guess who is who? So Blondie on the
okay.
end.
Slow hands guy.
Yes, so that's Niall Horan.
Yes.
Followed
Zayn.
by Zayn
Zayn.
Malik.
Harry Styles.
No, Louis Tomlinson.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
Liam Payne.
Yeah.
Harry Styles.
Thank you very much.
I
I'm
don't
so
understand why you're
sorry.
getting Louis and Harry confused. They don't. I guess they look kind of alike. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm
This one
terribly
is
sorry.
Harry.
Yes,
This one
yes,
is Louis.
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know it's just early
That's
morning.
okay. Sometimes it
Hat
happens.
in this picture.
Yeah, okay. He
Louis
usually wears a hat.
graphic.
Thank you, Shazia.
No
Okay, let me try again.
So do they have to wear a hat for you to remember?
This
Is
is from
that
like X Factory. So the one with the Justin Bieber comb over is. This is actually confusing because I don't think you'll understand. He doesn't normally.
Louis?
No, that's Liam. This is Louis.
Listen, they didn't. Okay, all right. To my credit, at the beginning of this film, they didn't make it super clear who was who. Okay,
fair?
so
So
that's
if you're a casual person, this
That's
one
Harry.
is Harry. Good job, buddy.
Woo!
Zayn.
Zayn.
Louis. Liam.
Science.
I feel like the problem Lydia's having is that she's.
There's different pictures and they're not in the same spot.
This kind of makes me feel better that we don't know all of BTS because they also change their hair colors a lot.
Yeah.
And stuff. We don't see them.
I'm so
Obviously, Niall
sorry.
is easy to spot because he's the only blonde one. Zayn is the brooding, dark, handsome one.
I know
and then the
Zayn.
other
Like
ones-
I could pick him out 1,000 times. Everybody
You just
else
have
is
trouble with
iffy.
Louis.
Everybody else is iffy. Oh no. Okay. God bless him.
Okay. Is that enough?
Okay,
pictures, Lydia?
let's continue on because we're 21 minutes in and we got a big documentary to go.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, so they start off, they're all kind of like showing things and they're just kind of little doing voiceovers. So the first one is Niall. So he said, when I grow up, I want to be a singer. He wrote this on a desk at school and apparently it's still there. So he was saying that he grew up with his dad, his mom, and his 3 sisters. So he had a lot of female influence in his life. And that he used to have a small bed in his parents' room because they lived in a small house and that's where he grew up. So then Liam was next, and he was saying how when he was a kid, he always wished he could win the lottery and have money. He always wanted to entertain people. They showed this really cute clip of him on stage in a little Elvis outfit, like performing. So with a little like cape and everything. So that was kind of cute. Then it moved to Louis, and he was at school, he was the class clown. His main thing is he wanted to make people laugh. Then Harry got kicked out of class for singing Irish traditional songs at the back of geography. Let me tell you, his accent was very strong, and I had to rewatch this part a few times. And then thankfully there was like
Subtitles.
And I know, and my friend Paul was like, when he first started showing me British things, I was like, can we put the subtitles on? He's like, they're speaking English. I'm like, understand, but I can't understand because
Yeah.
Fair, that's fair, I think.
In all fairness, now at my advanced age, I like to have subtitles on all the time just so I can.
My advanced age, wow.
The advanced
Something
age
to
of
look forward
40.
to
Oh,
when
there
you
you
go to
go.
40.
So anyways, so he also said that his sister would be playing music in her room, and he would have a pretend guitar in front of his mirror, and he would pretend to perform for people. Zayn was saying how in school he wasn't interested in things the other kids were interested in, like football, which is soccer for us in North America.
Yeah.
He said he was more creative. Liam said, wherever we'd go, my dad would tell people that I could sing, and then his sister would be annoyed at him for singing, so things like that. So then it kind of just shows like a stage being built, and the boys are posing. So they're just posing for like a photo shoot, and then Louis smacks Niall in the face. And,
That was hilarious.
Oh boy.
it's just like, okay.
Those guys are too much.
Yeah, so he's like, what the fuck did you do that for? And he's like, ha ha ha. So,
Fun
yeah,
antics there.
so it was nice to see, like, okay, the critics did say a lot of shit, which I'm sure we'll get into and stuff, but it definitely seemed that this movie obviously was more made for the fans and was more like a fluff piece, if you will. But it was nice to see like their antics and to see how well they got along, right? So anyways, okay. So anyways, feel free to jump in if you think I'm missing anything, but
You're pretty good, so keep going.
Okay, so then it shows girls screaming at a concert in London at the O2 Arena.
Woo!
And then they start singing Up All Night. So
Yeah.
I have to say, I have not heard 1D in a while. And to like, for most of the songs, I was like, I still remember all the words. Like, these are damn good songs. They were very good.
Very catchy.
Bands, so
Yeah, very good. Yeah, yeah.
They were very
Kenny
catchy,
liked them
so.
too, so that was cool.
Yes. So then it shows the title of the movie at this point.
This is
Moving on to the
us.
next page. So then it's showing, so it's kind of like a montage of girls waiting for them in various places around the world. So they're just like crowds of girls and things like that. Then it said that they became #1 in over 35 countries, which was faster than the Beatles got there. But also,
To be fair,
Different time.
technology.
Different
the Beatles
times.
were like in the 60s, right? So
Mhm.
there was no internet back then and there was
Yes.
no other thing. So I feel like it took a lot to do that. This one,
Mhm.
One Direction is very grassrooty, which their fans did a lot, and they talk about that later on. But anyway, so he said it's faster than Beatles. That's how they became #1 in all these countries. Simon Cowell is in this movie.
Yeah,
He
that
produced
was
the
cool.
movie, and he also is the one who kind of put them together. So kind of managed them, I believe, at some point. He wasn't obviously on tour with them or anything. So he said it was unprecedented. They sold out the entire tour in just hours. So like a world tour. So now they're like walking backstage and they're inside an empty arena. And then they had a choreographer named Paul changing up their routine because they had already done 2 years worth of something. And in my head, I was thinking, choreographer, eh?
Yeah, I was like,
Because when Lydia and I went to
time.
the concert, now I don't remember which concert we went to. Do you remember, Lydia?
I remember other things that were
Mhm.
terrible.
Yes, I know.
But I don't
So-
remember that particular. No.
Was it in
So-
Toronto or Hamilton?
It was in Toronto.
Toronto.
We had to take Olivia's nieces. One was a teenager and a huge 1D fan, and one was a 6-year-old with pink eye. And Lydia was really
I'm
not
a
having a
germaphobe,
good time.
guys. I'm a germaphobe, so that was not a great time for me. and this
Also,
is
our tickets were kind of shit. We weren't close, and I feel like that really annoys me when I'm not close at a concert.
And
Also, what annoyed me about One Direction, and I'm sorry, Directioners, unlike these gentlemen behind me, I don't know if you can see these NSYNC marionettes that dance.
Yeah.
One Direction really didn't have a lot of choreography. Like, I know that it's different, whatever, and they had the vocals and they had everything great. But like, I personally felt the show was a little boring when we went. Like,
Yeah.
It was
great to hear the
lacking.
songs. It was great to see like the video screens doing all this shit. Which, looking at the footage, I'm wondering if this is the tour that we went to go see, because they did remember.
They
some
did.
parts of
I
it.
remember there was some 3D-ish, like,
Yeah.
I remember the stage looking kind of like, oh, this is all they got, eh?
There was like this like lounge
Sorry.
thing that they sat
I'm
down
used
at one
to
point,
boy
and I was like,
bands.
I don't know. We grew up.
No,
in the
that's
era
fair.
of
That's fair.
90s.
Backstreet
We grew up in
Boys,
the 90s.
NSYNC, O-Town, the Lou Pearlman era bands, all very regimented with their singing and dancing and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Like, yes, one
Which is
did a
fair.
great job interacting with the crowds and stuff, but when I think boy band concert, I kind of like to see the whole like picture of like, yes, we're like maybe not wearing the exact same outfits, but
Well,
kind of like a
I do
theme
like
or
that,
something,
yeah.
right? Like kind of like, yeah, some people might think it's cheesy, but I think it's great that I enjoy that. And then you learn the
Yeah.
dances and things like that. And you just expect. So
They
anyways,
do. They do touch on this though.
they do touch on
Yeah,
it, yes,
so,
for sure.
you know.
So anyways, I just laughed when this choreographer was there. I was like, okay. And then they were like, okay, sorry. So then they were, where am I? Okay, no, that's later on. Okay, so then Louis starts talking because I guess they asked them if they were fans of boy bands. So he said he was not a fan of boy bands until he was in One Direction. Niall was saying that he was a huge boy band fan. He loved Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and stuff, which
That was pretty cool hearing.
Yeah, I know, right?
I was like, good job, Niall. Plus, also like Niall, I like seeing him in pictures with the older boy bands, and he just looks so excited to be in them. So it's great.
Yeah, that's fun.
Zayn said, when people say that you're in a boy band, he goes, yeah, I am, but it's a cool boy band. So whatevs.
They're all cool, right?
Yes, exactly. So then they're in rehearsals, and the song I Would is playing in the background. Then here's where they talk about how they hate dancing with a passion.
Yes.
And then goes to, I don't know what my words here. goes to something to a different level. Then for some reason, they start doing this like weird bird dance. Like it's just like,
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So I don't know if
And
their
the
choreographer
dinosaur.
told them to do that or they were just making fun of the choreographer. But then
I
they
don't
were
really
doing this thing. It was bizarre. I don't know.
Let's hope
Um,
it's just making fun of the
I-
choreographer. That was so bad.
A little bit weird.
This is
Yeah.
a thing.
God bless 'em.
And then they're like trying on clothes. And there's like various moments throughout this film where some of them are shirtless. I was like, oh, the fangirls must be like loose.
It was nice. It was nice. I liked it. That was like
Mama Lou.
Who
Like,
doesn't like it, right?
delicious. Yeah.
they're a legal age there, Mama Lou.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
19 to 22.
There you
Okay,
go.
so Liam. So then Liam was talking. He's like, when you go on tour, the outfit you pick is the outfit that you're stuck with for like 8 months, which is a very valid point
Yeah. I
because
mean,
they
I
generally
guess.
wear the same.
Right, because then they do the laundry, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but for
So
the
that's
most
fine.
part, it's going to be this is your stage outfit for this entire tour. And then Louis said they tried dressing the same, but it doesn't work. We need to be our own people. And then he said being on tour is like 5 rowdy boys in a class at school. Like they're just, and then they were
Yeah.
trying to take pictures of Harry in the outfit, and then Harry kept just doing these like ridiculous poses. And the
Oh my god, that was
Yeah.
funny too. I
guys were
laughed.
like,
That
Harry,
was
we have a very
mean.
busy day today. And he's like, okay. And then at the very last second, when she gets to take the picture, he's like, "Rrr." So he's
I know, but that was funny. I don't know. I
was
just
funny.
laughed a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
So then it flashes back to 2010 for the X Factor. So then Liam was talking about how he was on it once, but Simon said he was too young, which we've heard in a recent interview about that. I think I
Mm.
Yeah.
don't think I ended up talking about that interview.
Not
I don't
yet.
think-
No.
Yeah.
Not yet, no.
We should
so-
touch on that one. I'll put
But
it
yeah,
on
so that's
the,
Liam
I'll put it
essentially
on the
says-
list.
Yes. So yeah, so he
Thanks,
was
Leah.
he was on it. Simon said he was too young, come back, and I believe he came back 2 years later. So then Simon was talking about how they all auditioned. So they all auditioned as individual members because
Yes.
the X Factor has like various categories. So it's like boy solo artist, girl solo artist, band, this, right? So they auditioned as all the boys. And then Louis like, oh God, I hope you don't see my first audition. It was horrendous. Like, I hope they don't show it. So then of course they
Of
like,
course they're gonna
played
show
clip.
it. Yeah.
So it was the plain white tees. What you
Yes.
do to me, like that song. So
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad. It was okay. He definitely had like the hair in front
It
of his
was alright.
face, whatever. So then Zayn said they came from normal working class families. So on the day of the audition, he had to get up at 4 a.m. and
Poor
he
guy.
did not want to get out of bed. And his mom literally dragged him out of bed. So he was all like, thanks, mom, because like otherwise this wouldn't have happened, right?
Yeah.
So Liam's goal on the X Factor is he came back to prove a point because they cut him the first time, so it'll be good. So then it was down to 24 boys. So they're like, okay, and then the last person is, and there's some guy named Richard or something. Then they all got kicked off of the show.
Yes.
So they're like crying backstage.
Poor
'Cause,
guys.
you know, they're young boys, right? They're like
Yeah.
16-ish or whatever.
That's disappointing. You
it
think
would be
you're gonna
disappointing for
win.
any age, man.
Yeah,
Disappointing.
agreed. Yeah.
Like Lydia, when you auditioned for Canadian Idol, how was that
Yep.
after you got cut?
Ah. Right in the heart. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right. And it's hard because thousands of people are auditioning and they can only pick like 20 people or whatever. So
Yeah.
anyway, so they're all crying and they're about to leave, right? But then the producer, like there's a group of them, a producer calls out 5 of them. So Harry had no clue what was going on, and he's like, "These assholes! they just
They
kept
just-
us back to make
watch
us
us
cry
cry."
for TV. Like it's gonna be good footage for them, for us all crying and blah blah blah."
That
So all
was
the guys
funny.
are like, "Yeah." Harry was like, "Oh, I can't believe they're doing this to us." Blah, blah, blah. But meanwhile, Simon had said that he made a decision in about 10 minutes that he was going to put them together as a group. And there is footage of that in one of the.
That was so cool. We did
saw
watch
something.
that.
I can't remember where we saw it.
It was like
But
an
they had
overhead
posted
view of the three judges, and then Simon's like, "I like this. I like." And then there was like a lady judge. Remember?
Yeah.
They
that
were like
was
moving the pictures around, and they're like, "We should make a group out of these guys."
yeah.
that did
I think on TikTok or Twitter,
Yes, I want to say
Nicole, what's her name from Pussycat Dolls?
Yes.
Nicole Scherzinger.
I think it was
Yeah.
her because she was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was wild.
because I
couldn't
think
believe it.
they produced this after Liam said, "I was the one main person in One Direction," and da 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 da. Like, he
Yeah.
did a review, and I feel like after that, they're like, "This is the actual footage of them putting the band together." So it was
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
forget
they-
her last name though.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know them either. Okay.
Okay. So they're there like, okay, we're gonna make you a group. So then I was like, okay, guys, we should all start dressing like Louis. He has cool shoes,
He
like
did.
you know.
Yeah.
So then they ended up getting together at Harry's dad's house. And they were having like a little bonfire or whatever. And
That
they were
was cute.
supposed to rehearse. But instead they were just playing football, which is
Yeah.
So they're
Well,
just kinda, like,
boys,
bonding,
right?
because
Yeah.
they had no idea what was going to happen, and they're just like, you know what, let's just try to, because they didn't really know each other, like they had seen each other at the auditions, but
Yeah.
so they kind of like bonded as little friends there.
Yeah.
So then Simon was like, after only singing once on X Factor together, there was 200 fans like outside the studio, like trying to get pictures with them and talk to them and stuff. So he's like, holy crap, this is pretty instant, and the fans just kept voting for them.
It blew up fast.
That was good though. It's like
Yeah.
Yes,
you can tell it's good.
So then Louis says, you don't think you're going to win, but you really hope you're going to win. So it's like, okay, you're going to win. Simon's like, if I had to put any money on it, they would be the band, they would be who was winning X Factor. And then he's like, and then they lost to somebody named Rebecca. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So then they're like, oh, okay, well, you guys, because they were in the top 3. I don't know if they were the final 2, but they were definitely in the top 3. So then they asked Zayn, like, hey, you know, like, now that you didn't win, what's going to happen? And he's like, we're going to stay together. This isn't the last of 1D. So they wait to put him on the spot type thing, right?
Yeah.
They're not giving up.
They're not giving up. So then Simon is saying that fans made it their mission to make them the #1 band in the world. So then they have a little montage of them talking to fans, and then they were talking like, you know, how they changed their lives, how they make us feel happy or feel better. It was like you could pretty much take these people out of any boy band fandom. I feel like it was
You're basically like us saying like,
saying these
Backstreet
things
Boys.
like, you know, like even though they don't know us, they don't know how much they mean to us and all this other stuff, and like, you know, it's just nice to see them. So it was like a nice little montage, but then I was just like, whoo, deja vu of
Yeah.
us, right?
Yeah.
That is the parasocial relationship. But
Exactly.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So now they skip to the concert. So then they start playing One Thing, and they play most of the song.
You got
That
one thing.
Thing.
So get it. Anyways, it was bizarre that I still remembered all the words, and I was
know.
singing along and having
Me
a grand
too.
old time there. So
It's like I don't remember last week, but I remember these song lyrics.
just like the song lyrics are in a part of my brain, and they're there, and that's where they live for eternity. So there you go.
Yeah.
I'm in the nursing home. You got that one.
One thing.
All right, miss, please eat your applesauce.
Yeah, for sure. So then
Oh,
Niall was
yes.
saying that the fans are the best, and like what they've done in the last 3 years, because I guess this is like 3 years into their thing. He's like, it's crazy. Then they were talking about super fans and how they were promoting them via Twitter, which is I think where I first heard of One Direction, because obviously we don't get the X Factor UK in Canada.
Yeah.
But I remember I was just like on Twitter and someone's like, why does One Direction sound like wand erection?
Yes. Now that you're saying it, I do recall this.
And as a Harry Potter fan, I was like, oh, that's funny. And then I was like, what is this One Direction? And then I was like looking and I was like, oh, okay, new boy band, like da-da-da. Like, so that's kind of how I got introduced to them, was through that. So totally 100% on point here with this kind of grassroots marketing from the fans.
Yeah, Twitter. Yeah.
So then Simon goes, they were crazy about One Direction. I don't know why. I'm not a neuroscientist. And then
Oh
it
my
fucking
God.
Yeah, that was weird.
then it like goes to this man who's a neuroscientist. This
In a
boy.
Yeah.
And
That
I
was
like, what the fuck
weird.
am I watching right now?
I was like, am I still watching the same show?
And then he takes, I know, right? I was like, is this man really a neuroscientist or just some weird?
Oh my God, yeah.
He takes the brain apart and he starts like talking about it. And
It was
he's
pretty
like,
good. It was pretty
What
good.
is happening?
this is the brain. Dopamine
Oh my God.
is released when they hear this music, and it brings them happy and joy and
Oh my God.
goosebumps and strong pleasure. And he's like, the fans are not crazy; they're just excited. I'm like, thank you,
Thanks,
man.
Mr. Guy.
Thank you, man.
Like, so random. I was like, okay.
It was very random. I was like,
was funny.
okay,
It was
what
so
is
funny,
this?
actually.
Yeah.
So then they kind of show this like thing and like, okay, so it started off in England with the X Factor. Then they tweeted out, and then people in Europe got on board. Then it went to North America. Then it went around the world in just a few months. Like everybody knew about One Direction. So then it's back to the concert. They're still performing one thing. And then Simon goes, until the whole world are fans of 1D before an album is even out. So they don't even have any music out, but people already know about One Direction. And then they were like talking about, will this work stateside? I don't know. It's never really happened with a British boy band, like maybe, whatever. And then they released What Makes You Beautiful, and it became number one.
That's a good, catchy song.
Which is very catchy. When that first, I'm like, this song is awesome.
I think it helped that also it was like some Backstreet Boy writers, because I remember from back then.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, some of the Backstreet Boy writers wrote for One Direction.
Well, that is convenient.
I know it's not the Backstreet Boys writers, but that's my memories of it. So that's why I'm using that. Yeah.
For sure. And then they were talking about how 1D is a little bit rock influenced. There's a little bit of an edge on that.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
They kind of talk, which is true. They're not. They're not like the Five Edge with a very perverted, like.
Yes.
They're not that far, but they have that bit of like a rocky pop.
They have like a balance.
Slightly anarchist is what they said. I'm like, yeah, I like that. Yeah.
It's a good balance to have.
Like Sex Pistols meets the Beatles kind of thing.
Yeah.
For shizzle.
Yeah.
So then it shows them packing for their 10-month Take Me Home tour. And then
that's a long time.
Give them a lot to live up to. So I guess they have to like prove themselves or whatever. Then there was a song that was playing, and so I tried to Shazam, by the way, and it did not work.
It's called She's Not Afraid.
She's Not Afraid. I said I don't remember the song, but I like it. So do you guys
I don't remember the song at all, but it sounded good.
I was like, oh, this is a good song. I like it. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We all have different.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So then they were like practicing to an empty room, and then it like flashes to Niall and Harry's mums, and they are in a horse carriage ride in Central Park before the Madison Square Garden concert. And then one of them said that like when family is in the audience, it just adds more nerves. Like when there's one of them, and now like they're all here. So I guess they flew out all of their families to the Madison Square Garden.
Well, that's a big deal, right?
That's a big deal, sure.
Like any band or artist, like that's where they want to play.
Yeah,
we've never actually been to Madison Square Gardens.
No, if like one of the bands played that artist you want to go and see, that would be a great place to go.
Because like the O2 Arena is the big one in the UK, and then Madison Square Garden is the big one in New York, and then
what do we have here? Air Canada Center.
Yeah, I think it's
Skydome.
Oh, okay.
Skydome. Yeah.
Whoever owns it this year, Dome.
We did go to Boston
what is it called this year.
I don't know.
Rogers Center. Rogers Center, yeah. I still call it the Skydome.
I still call it the Skydome.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Whatever it was originally when it came out that year. Molson Amphitheater is still Molson Amphitheater. It's not Budweiser Stage. It's like
Air Canada Center. I still call it Air Canada
But
Center.
like, like the Sydney Opera House, that's like one of the big ones that people think of when they think of like things around the world. Like there's
we went to Boston.
We did.
That one was good too. I forget what it's called now.
Okay.
Oh my God, the
Boston Cream.
The Red Monster. It was the baseball venue. Oh my God. I've lost I don't remember. Oh my God.
Fenway?
Yes, Fenway Park.
Fenway Park. That's a big one. Yeah.
That's also one where you want to go, and that was a cool moment. Yeah.
That should be our goal eventually, is to go to all the major.
Yeah, I think that's a good bucket list.
So.
Yes.
Yeah.
A few years to save up money.
There you go. I'm incapable of saving money, but I'm moving on. Okay, so they're in this carriage ride, and then it shows the moms. They were like buying cardboard cutouts of their sons.
Cute. It was very sweet.
Cute. So Liam's mom bought him and stuff. It's also a little. You see a little bit of the sadness at this point. Like they're trying to keep it as a positive movie, but it does show them like crying and stuff like a bit.
Yeah, you can see it.
And essentially, like, because obviously they miss their kids, and if you think about it, their kids are still high school age, like
17.
Yeah. So like so Harry's stepdad was saying how Harry went to the X Factor audition and pretty much never came home after that. Like
that's wild.
And then Harry's mom was like, I should be taking my son to places, but here he is taking me to things, right? So And then it just shows some random celebrities backstage in New York. Martin Scorsese is there.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
He's like, oh,
Well, I guess does he have children? Does he have?
Yeah,
had two
yeah.
daughters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
two
so
daughters.
yes, he was.
That's his
definitely-
why. Yes.
He's like a big fan. And
Can
then-
you imagine if it was because he's just a big fan?
Just a random old
He'd
man.
be a little bit weird, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
Chris
missed-
Rock was backstage.
Yeah. Yeah, you missed the when Harry was put in the garbage can. That was hilarious.
Oh my god, that was funny.
Oh,
I was
they're
like,
like
oh, what are
wheeling
these
around.
antics?
Yeah.
All these
that's
fun
funny.
antics are happening.
Shenanigans.
That was cute. Yeah. And sorry, and then yes, Chris Rock was also there too.
And then he was like, "They're going to be huge. They're going to be great." Blah blah blah. And I was just like, "Oh, that was right, Chris Rock."
he was correct.
So
Harry's
It's-
mom says, "I got to pick up the pieces when it stops," and I was like, "Oh,
yes, that's what she said.
that
So
was
she's
so
like, in the back
sad.
of my mind, I'm always like, I got to pick up the pieces when it stops,
That was
but
sad.
it hasn't stopped yet, type thing. And then Zayn said it's weird to be around family, but now he has 4 brothers.
Mm.
Weird not to be around family, I'm assuming, but now he has his 4 brothers. So now they're performing at Madison Square Garden, and the song comes out, "Live While We're Young." So they're
Yeah.
performing that. So that's good. And then it shows them like sleeping on floors and chairs because they are now
Yeah.
flying to Japan.
yeah,
And then Zayn's like, it's just go, go, go all the time.
Mm.
So it's like they left this concert, now they're flying around, right?
Yeah.
Then there was, which I thought was interesting, there was paparazzi at the airport in Japan.
Yeah, that's wild.
I didn't think Japan did that, but so
are paparazzi not allowed to be at airports? Because they're like, this is weird. And I'm just like, isn't
yeah,
this
so
like
Harry was saying how strange it was because in England they're not allowed inside buildings.
oh, okay.
So I
Yeah,
guess-
that was an interesting thing.
So then they're like there, and then they gave them these robes to put on, these like red
Oh, those are
robes.
called happies. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like used for summer festivals.
Yeah, that's a welcoming thing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's very cute.
Sorry, what is it called, Lydia?
Happy. It's called a happy.
Happy?
Happi. Happy.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
So they put on the robes, and then they go out at the airport, and there's like a whole sea of girls taking things, which I also think is funny because I thought like Japan, they're supposed to be a lot more like chill and whatever.
Nope.
But, you know,
With
when it
boy
comes to
band and
bands-
fangirls,
This
no.
is the thing. Yes,
It's
they
a
are-
universal language, the fangirl.
It's true.
So, yeah,
yeah,
tons of
Japanese
them.
people are more reserved, but yeah, you just it's like a
Yeah.
primal instinct, man.
You know, you're like, yeah.
Yeah.
Now I got to change my fanfic from years ago. Like I
What?
son of a bitch.
What?
When Sync went to Japan in my fanfic, the fans were all calm.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
There you
Yeah,
go.
sorry, I
Okay.
did not know.
was the
Anyway, so they're
90s
like
back
signing autographs and stuff, and then there's music playing in the background. Then they get in the elevator. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Zayn looked pretty upset
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or tired or whatever. The other boys looked happy and stuff and excited.
It
They're
was
"Wow,
like you could start to see the decline in a lot of this
Mm.
movie, right? And
Yeah.
it's interesting. yeah.
yes,
It was sad.
Yeah.
yes." So then Zayn and Niall are talking about how they can't believe how people can do this solo. They're like, I like being in this group with the four other guys, and like, you know, like they're like, if I was
you
in a
have
hotel
support.
room by myself, like I don't know what I would even be doing, like how depressing and stuff like. Which is true. Which is we've always said that on this
Yeah.
podcast about boy bands because
Yeah.
at least you have 4 other people there keeping you in check and things like that.
Accountable,
Yeah.
right?
Accountable.
Supporting you.
Yeah.
They root.
Yeah.
They, you know, if you're sad, they cheer you up. Like you have like 4 built-in best friends.
Because they know what
Yeah.
you're going through at the same time as you, basically.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
because
sometimes
there's only
I
so many
wonder.
people who've experienced this, and this is kind of like the shit part with what happened with Aaron Carter
Aaron,
as
yeah.
a solo artist,
Yeah.
is that he didn't have anyone like with him.
Yeah.
Like he had
Yeah.
his things, and then he never knew who was there for him, and
Who he
was
could
just using
trust.
him
Yeah.
and stuff
Yes
like
men.
that. So
All that stuff.
that's
Yeah.
why I always like, obviously, besides the fact that I really love boy bands, I always feel like you need to be part of a group because
Mhm.
it is a lonely life. It is sad. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're traveling around the world and doing all these things, but you don't have like you
Anyone
don't
to
have a normal
share
life.
it
Like,
with.
millions of people love you, but you can't just go out into the street, which they show later on,
Mhm.
because people are going to mob you and things like that. So,
Mhm.
you know, you need to be sharing this experience with people that you trust and are going through the same experience with you.
Yeah.
Which is why I think a lot of our 90s boy bands, like Backstreet Boys and Sync, O-Town, 98 Degrees, they're kind of all doing things together now because they're kind of like in this elusive group of people who have gone
Mhm.
through the same experience.
Yeah.
So even
Yeah.
though Lou or whoever tried to like pit them against each other back in the day, or maybe they even had some beefs back in the day. Now they know that you are the only people who know what it's like to have this insane go from like a regular person to be this on the cover of all these magazines and traveling all over the world and doing all these shenanigans. So
Right.
And it made their bond stronger too, right? 'Cause they're together. Yeah.
for sure. Okay, so then they kind of say how like it's good to be with the other guys because you have laughs while going through the schedule. So then they were singing
Wait. Oh, before
things.
sorry, there's a couple of things. He was one of them was getting a haircut in the hotel, like in the hotel room. I was like, that was interesting. They were on the Japanese TV doing like goofy spots.
They always do that in Japan. There's like goofy TV shows. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
It is cute. Yeah. And then Harry caressed Niall and then picked his nose.
Yeah, I'll have that later.
That was that happened before. That happened before Teenage Dirtbag.
No, I didn't say Teenage Dirtbag. I said they were singing Little Things as a warm-up, a cappella.
Oh.
And then I said Harry was singing to Niall, and it was very romantic.
It was super
and then
romantic.
he picks
I was
his
like,
nose.
should we be watching this?
I'm like, this is some yaoi shit.
But he's like, yeah, son. Mhm.
great.
And then
It
he's
was
like
amazing.
caressing his face, and he sticks his finger up and picks
That was
his
so
nose
cute.
and
Yeah. That was so cute.
walks away.
Yeah.
So then Liam is talking about how he didn't know it would be cold in Japan.
That was cute.
And he thought, it's close to Australia, so I thought it would be warm all the time. And the other guy's like, oh, you're such an idiot. He's like, is it not close to Australia? Is it on the other side of the world? Like,
No, he was
so like technically he's not wrong. It is
not
close to
wrong.
Australia.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
a little more north. So
Yeah. No, I agree. And then
so,
they were playing robot soccer.
yes,
That was-
I
that
got
was
that
fun,
too,
yeah.
robots. They were also eating miso soup, and I guess they'd never had that before, so they weren't sure what to do. And then Niall's like, "Oh, I think you just pour it over the rice," and they're like, "No, you eat it as soup." So
Oh,
it was
God.
like, it was very cute. I was like, oh.
It was
cute.
cute.
And then
Yeah.
Harry was wearing a mask,
Mhm.
which I thought, wow, look at that pre-pandemic. And they're like,
Because in
Pandemic.
Japan they all have masks, right?
Yeah.
Because of
if you're
the
sick, you were
If you're
Yeah.
sick.
usually,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. I was like, oh, foreshadow.
Mhm.
And then after the little robots playing soccer, then I thought Lydia would really love that part because they went to a maid cafe.
They did. It was pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
I also
Loved it.
thought of Lydia.
Thanks, guys. I was like,
they're doing their little like
Aw.
cute things with the ears. And I
Yeah.
was just like, this is like the Lydia segment of this movie.
See, yes.
I loved
Because
it.
one of them was dressed as maid, one was Sailor Moony, one was like they had like different
They're-
outfits.
Yeah, they're all
Yeah,
cosplay
it was
outfits.
fun.
Yeah, it was cute.
It was very cute. They seemed to have a good time there. And then they're on stage in Japan, and that's where they start singing Teenage Dirtbag, which
Yes.
is a cover of Letus.
Yes.
And behind them, it was very like anime-like and cartoons and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just kept like randomly, like while they were on stage, turning them into a cartoon. And I was very confused.
Yeah,
but now
that was
that I know
weird.
this was a 3D movie,
That
I
makes
feel
sense.
like that's the part where they'd be like, "Oh, look, Harry's in the crowd," or you know,
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
There you go. Okay,
that makes more sense now.
Yeah. It does.
Yeah. What I thought was interesting, and maybe they used footage from something else, or maybe I'm just wrong, is that in the crowd there didn't appear to be that many, especially close up, Japanese fans. Did anybody else notice that, or was that just me?
Do you think maybe they just cut like a different part, like a
So
different?
I wasn't sure if they cut from somewhere else, or if they had like like Americans or whatever living in Japan and they wanted to go to this concert, or
Possible.
if people
Yeah.
actually flew to Japan for the concert, which
Also possible.
again would be super cool. But
Yeah.
also super expensive. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
as much as I would
Agreed.
like to, Lydia, how long does it take to travel to Japan?
14 hours from
14
Canada.
hours.
Yeah.
Like I got some dedication, but I don't know if I want to be on a plane for 14 hours. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yikes.
give me
Because even like 5 hours, you get a little stir crazy.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. So, but yeah, so I did notice that. So I wasn't sure if they were cutting footage or if they just had a lot of like North American or European fans. But I guess
Yeah.
for European fans, it's not
It's
that far
possible.
of a flight. So.
Mm.
Yes. Anyways, so now they're on another plane and they get to Paris, France, and they're all taking pictures with the Eiffel Tower. I'm like, oh, look,
Petty.
holding it
Mhm.
or whatever, right? So we're tourists today. And then Liam talks about how he wants to try the local delicacies wherever they go.
Hey, yeah.
He's like, we're in France, so we should have frog legs and snails. Who's in? Everyone's like, you're insane. And
Yeah.
then Zane's like, well, yes, frog legs make sense because at least it's not too weird, but snails. I was like, what frog legs?
They're all gross, but
Yeah.
try them anyway, though.
What are you talking about? I've seen frog legs once. I remember this specifically. This was when we were like teenagers, and we were in Vero Beach, Florida, and a Walmart was selling them in the food. And I was just like, and they just looked like very muscly little legs. I was like,
no thanks.
So I've never had frog legs. I have had snails or escargot. They taste garlicky, or at least that's how.
Did you like it?
It was okay. I figured might as well. I felt like I didn't chew. I just swallowed it. I don't know if you're supposed to.
I haven't had a snail.
Slimy. I don't know. But like I appreciate Liam wanting to try the cuisine of the locals.
Yeah.
So
I feel like this was your part of the segment.
Yes.
This is
and this is very much like what Howie does Howie from Backstreet Boys when he goes on tour, how he eats and he does these things. I personally am grossed out by a lot of food, so I'm not as adventurous. I feel like Diane would be the most adventurous out of all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And me too.
But you like to try things as well.
But yes, I
Me
feel
and
like
D are the foodies.
the most like.
Yeah, I'm very picky an eater. I can't.
You are.
I'm sorry. I'm okay with that. That's just me.
Yes. But,
Greek salad wherever.
When
at least I know it will be good, and I will be full.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes it'll have tomatoes. Sometimes it won't.
Yeah, you're right.
That's true as well.
One giant tomato. Yeah.
Oh Jesus. All right. Anyway, so
sorry, continue.
So they were practicing Last First Kiss. Then it was so they said this was their first time touring Europe. So it's basically a new country every day, which is really kind of cool because honestly, I've only went to Europe when I was 6 and I only went to Italy. I didn't go to any of the other countries. But it's true. They're so close to each other. You're like, you drive like, when we go on a road trip, we are in Ohio for 6 hours and we're still in Ohio, right? Yeah. Whereas in Europe, you're in an entirely different country in 6 hours, right? So that's kind of cool.
I agree. That's a good point.
I don't know if we've missed out on that because you're supposed to be a backpacker like in university or whatever. I never did that. So
I also didn't
whatever.
do that.
But also,
that's also expensive.
Travel for the rest of your life. So anytime.
Something to look forward to,
Something to look forward to. So then they found, they're walking around and they found Belgium Harry. He's like, you brother, come here. He was like,
that was funny.
They were both had like the same hairstyles and wearing sunglasses and similar clothes. And I don't know if the guy knew who Harry Styles was and thought he was just nuts. And they were like, a guy with film crew. Okay. Or if he did.
So okay. Yeah, maybe.
That was cute.
Hey, I'm going to be famous.
That was cute.
Then they were somewhere else and they were playing soccer or football. With an actual team, but I didn't catch where they were.
Ronaldo, they're with Ronaldo.
Oh, that was Ronaldo.
Yeah, that was. Okay. Yeah. Oh my God,
this is the best day of our lives, like whatever. So that's pretty cool.
That was cool. Yeah.
Dude looks familiar, but I'm not 100% sure, and I don't want to say.
Definitely him. Yeah.
Nice. So then Liam described the tour as a big lads' holiday with a lot of work involved, which makes sense, right? You're like traveling Europe with your buddies. Yeah. And then they're backstage, and it's right before the concert, and they all start singing "Hi ho, it's off to work we go."
Yeah, that was cute.
Super cute.
I don't know what this says. My handwriting.
Oslo.
Remember saying in there.
Yes. Sorry. They were going to the different. You already said the Eiffel Tower pictures, right?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry. Then they went to Germany, Belgium. Then they met Ronaldo. Yeah. They sang the Hi Ho song. Then they went to Oslo, Norway, Sweden, Antwerp, and Berlin.
Yeah.
And then at this point, I was like, "Uh-oh."
You see all the fans. They're like going to see all the like fans, and each one,
visions everywhere.
The one in like Italy was crazy too.
Yeah. So at some point he said, Liam, I believe, said there were around 54 shows out of 130. So they hadn't even made it halfway through the tour at that point.
He looked tired. He looked so tired. It was pretty.
And then, could you imagine if they were like dancing as well?
Yeah. True.
So now then they were performing Little Things. That song, and there was all these flashlights in the crowd and stuff.
I think that's cool.
They just randomly cut to Liam fishing off a dock.
Yeah,
and then Harry is just napping beside him, just like chilling.
I know, that was so sweet.
Then they were talking about when they went to boot camp, which I'm assuming was during the X Factor thing. I think that's what they're talking about.
Probably.
I think so.
And then Liam was like, "Oh, Harry was just like wandering around with his beanie, or as a toque, as you call it in Canada." Yes. And then they said they remember that Niall was very loud and was always running around with his guitar and had people around him. Then they were talking about how they had a serious conversation in a coffee shop about kicking Zayn out of the group.
Yup. Ouch.
Which I thought was interesting. And I was like,
ow.
Yeah, that was like
Zayn was part of that discussion or not, but ultimately
No, he
I guess
wasn't.
they decided not to kick Zayn out.
Foreshadowing.
But yeah, he left first, right? So
Uh-huh.
Because I think
foreshadowing.
Zayn was
too.
never like 100% like into it.
I
Because
agree.
he's obviously the
Yeah.
shy one, the whatever, and I just feel, I don't know.
He just went
Um,
along with it because okay, I'm gonna make some money. Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So then Liam said, if I wasn't in One Direction, I would either be working in a factory or as a fireman. So then Harry said, why would you be like, why a fireman? And he's like, oh, because I like to save people. And he's like, okay. Then why a factory? And he said, because that's where my dad worked. So it's just kind of like, just follow it along, right?
That's
Yeah.
kind of like the brain of a 17-year-old, right? That's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you're like, this is comfortable. I know what this is, right? But like,
Yeah,
I feel
don't
like
put
as you get
extra
older,
school
you
for it or
come into your
whatever.
own, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I guess Harry used to work at a bakery, and he was like, I was a great baker. So he's like, okay. So
Yeah.
then now they're hanging out backstage. They're running around. They're driving carts,
Oh my god, that was funny.
skateboarding.
That was cute. Yeah.
So their
Yeah.
tour manager was like, I'm like their dad on the road, and
It's hard to
they're all
corral
a
them.
pain in the ass.
Yeah, that was cute.
And the security said it's like they really liked pulling pranks. And then it's like 6 minutes to showtime, and they're just like
Yes.
zooming around and being nuts, and they're trying to wrangle them. So they
Yeah.
like the security and the tour manager were not saying this in a mean way. They were like laughing and like
Yeah, they were having
enjoyed it,
fun.
like
Yeah.
whatever. But they're also like, you got to get on stage. Let's get. So they get the cart, and he took the key out of the cart, and then he catches Zayn off of the skateboard and like pulls him away. To, like,
Oh my
get
god,
dressed,
that was
like,
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which was really funny. So then they were performing the song "Come On, Come On," and then they're in Holland. So then they're like calling radio stations for some reason, and they're just like, "We want a sea of orange on," in the crowd.
Yeah,
And then the radio
that's
guys
cute.
are like, "Well, Harry, are you gonna wear orange?" She's like, "Well, that's a surprise. I don't know." And like Niall was calling. So anyway, so you see them, and you're seeing this footage, and it did not look like a sea of orange, but I guess it might have been a different concert. So then they show it, and then there is
Yeah.
a sea of orange.
Yeah.
All the
Right,
girls are
that's
wearing
right.
orange, and they have the thing, and the boys are on stage in like orange suits at the end. So
Yeah,
it's like
that's
that.
cute.
Yeah.
That
That
was
was
pretty
cute.
cool. So yeah. So did we pass France?
Then they showed at the soccer game. Was that a soccer game?
I saw the
Possibly.
next part I have is that they're shopping with fans. Do you have something before?
Yeah, I got
Oh,
the shopping.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So they're shopping, and they're just like wandering down the streets there of Holland, I think, or Belgium or wherever, I don't know. And then fans spot them, so they like head into like the Nike store in Amsterdam.
yeah.
Sorry, it was
Yeah,
Amsterdam.
yeah, yeah.
that they were.
Amsterdam, yeah.
And like the fans are there, and they're all like taking pictures and stuff, and they're just like chilling out in the store shopping. And they're like, Liam was saying that they don't go out much.
Because of that reason.
They don't go out much, so they forget that this happens and stuff. And then he said that some girl tried to grab his ear
Yeah,
while
that
he
was
was
cute.
going in. It's like, unfortunately, you can't have that. It's connected to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was
cute.
funny.
I
That was
thought
really
that was
cute.
kind of funny.
Yeah.
But you can also kind of see that it's like a little overwhelming and much.
Yeah, that's hard, right? Because
Yeah.
like before you're able to do those things and now you can't.
Yeah.
So that can also be depressing.
True.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
agree.
So then after this, they have some days off. So they're scheduled to go home and have some days with their family.
Yes.
So, and then there also shows them performing Change My Mind,
Mhm.
and they're on like the moving platform.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't think this is part of the song, but Niall changed lyrics to "Baby, if you want me to drive to KFC,"
That was
and then I
cute.
think it was Liam was like, "I love chicken," and like,
Yeah, that was so cute.
pretty sure it's not part of the song, but yeah.
No.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
I appreciated that was where you can only a trained eye would know this, like a the safety mechanism. Did you see that? Where it was
No, I
like the
wasn't
belt.
looking,
I was like,
reading
I'm like, oh, Kenny, like this way, because it's a floating platform. Because like every performer has to have some sort of like safety mechanism, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then so there was like a belt clip, and it clipped onto the.
That's what Backstreet Boys
like-
had too when
Yeah,
they went.
yeah, exactly. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god, that's so cool.
because the floating platform took them from the main stage to the B stage at the back.
Right.
Because like unlike like the Jonas Brother concert we went to, they had like a thing that they could walk.
Yeah.
This one the crowd was fully there, so it just had to like go over their heads, and it was glass, so I guess they could see above and stuff, and then they got onto the other stage safely.
Right.
So
yeah.
So there you go. So now they're back at home. So Harry was talking about Holmes Chapel, which is his favorite place, and he had his first kiss there, just down the road against a
Near the
tree.
stream.
And it was very steamy. It was pretty steamy.
That was so cute.
Ooh la la.
And then Niall was talking about how you don't realize how much you miss home and how much you appreciate your family until
You're gone all for that many months.
Yeah.
And then Liam's mom, for some reason, put the cardboard cutout of Liam in his own bedroom.
Oh my god, that was funny. Yeah.
So funny.
Which, as someone who has scared the shit out of other people with
But you also scared yourself. I understand.
scared myself, I understand those cardboard cutouts. Yes.
Yeah.
So then Louis actually, I guess he used to work at Toys R Us, and he said it was the only job he wasn't fired from. So he was kind of like wandering around there. I think it was closed. It didn't look like there was anybody in the store. And he saw like a One Direction box on the shelf. So he's like kind of weird that he used to work there and now he's like on the shelf, right?
Mhm.
So then Zane had a day off, and he says on his days off he just likes to be left alone.
And that's
Which
fair.
is fair. That's
Bought his
fair.
own house, and he made a graffiti room, and that's where he was doing that. So
Yeah, you need to do that.
Gary went back to the bakery. He worked there for 2.5 years with a bunch of old ladies. There's some lady named Barbara who came. And
Oh, that was so cute.
Yeah, that was sweet.
That was so sweet.
And he said it was nice to spend time with the people who knew me before this, like who knows, like the
Before
real me.
fame. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Niall was at church because his brother Greg was getting married, and Niall's dad was saying he left at 16. And he knows more than me, because he was saying how like his dad would always tell him things, so he knew things, but he's like, now he knows more than me because he's traveled the world and I've just been like in this small hometown this whole time. And then Louis' family said that it's his 5th day home in 2.5 years.
Wow.
X Factor.
Yikes.
That's kind
That's
of like,
wild.
Mhm.
and then I think his grandmother was there, and she's like, "Oh, I'll come to the show. You just have to get me earplugs."
Yeah. It's like, oh my God, Gran.
I'll go see it. And then his dad was saying how much he missed taking Liam like out, like you know, like doing a thing when you're like a teenager becoming a man, like taking him to the pub and stuff. So he missed out on that stuff. So then it just shows Niall and Harry both waking up in obviously in different houses, shirtless and half asleep. Then they're performing One Way or Another. So that was the charity single they made for Comic Relief. So it actually showed them going to Ghana in 2012.
Yeah.
And that they had donated the money that they would have used on a video to this organization to help eliminate poverty. And then that song ended up raising over £1 million, which is like 2 million Canadian, or 1.5 million Canadian. And then the fact that they went to Africa, they were able to see like what a difference it would actually make, like how much this money is helping out. Then it shows them in Verona, Italy, with crowds in the streets, and then Milan. And Niall's like, oh, it sounds like they're shouting pizza. And there was a sign that said pizza for Niall, but I don't know if he actually got the pizza.
Nah,
that was a funny sign.
Yeah.
Elvo comes out in thousands. No idea what this means. So then he wishes he could tell the fans like everything that they've done for One Direction, and there's like all these grazie signs in the crowd, and I thought it was interesting because when they're in France they had the merci signs in the crowd. And Sophia, we've done that before for
we have done that,
to like thank you or whatever. So it's cute. It's cute when you got people like when it's like with the heart or whatever. So when people like
they come together and like
come together, and it just looks so cool from the like crowd, right?
From the crowd,
So they were performing Loved You First. There was a clip of that. Then they're chatting on the bus after the concert, and they're like, just chatting about things that happened at the concert. Gosh. And then there's like somebody farted, and everybody was blaming Niall. And he's like, they're like, Niall, that's one of your gross farts. Like, I would admit it was my fart if it was mine. And that's a good fart. And then they were just like, they never actually reveal who farted, but somebody farted on this bus. So it was yes.
Yeah, it was cool to see like they run off, get dressed, and like in the bus and gone. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
a lot of times, you know,
So
like
they do a
Elvis
lot
has
of
left the
quick
building.
exits too, because
It's like a pro, right? Like they're in and out very
Yeah,
quickly.
it was really cool.
Like us.
so yes. So even in like that O-Town book I was reading, it's a thing called, it's like a fast exit. So like their people will gather all their personal shit, put it on the bus,
Yeah.
and then like they'll already be on the bus. So the second they come off, they run onto the bus, and the band still keeps playing.
Mhm.
So and then One Direction's already gone because they don't
Right.
get stuck in traffic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart, right? Super smart.
Yes.
Yeah.
So okay. So then they're like sleeping on the bus, and their songwriter producer is like waking
yeah.
up Harry.
Yeah.
Like he'd only been asleep for like
Zane.
10
I
minutes.
think it was Zane, wasn't it?
I think it was Harry the first time.
Yeah, I thought it was Harry.
Oh, you know what? Don't ask me. Yeah. Okay. I wrote down Zane, but I think I might be wrong.
That's okay.
And then Niall's talking about how they're recording their third album. And it's hard to record because they're doing this on the road. So they like wake up early in the morning, record,
Yeah.
do their concert, and then record after the concert. So it's like
Ugh.
very like disjointed. And they're
Regimented.
not actually saying where they're recording it. So I'm surprised that he woke up Harry from a bus to
Mm.
record. Because
Yeah, you
think
wouldn't
that
be
they would be
recording
sleeping
on
at
a
a
bus.
because normally you're not on the bus the entire tour. Like
No.
when you get to a place, you'll go and you'll stay at a hotel for like a day
That's
or two,
right.
right? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Unless
So-
at that time they didn't go to a hotel and they just stayed
unless
on the
they were
bus.
just like were parked outside the studio and it's like, okay, you guys sleep
Yeah.
on the bus, and when it's your turn, we're gonna pull
Maybe.
you off. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it shows them recording Best Song Ever, which is an excellent song. Then they had like a little press conference talking about how they're doing a stadium tour in 2014. And then Harry was not completely enjoying the process.
Yeah. that
Which
was
is
fair.
fair because that's
Which
a
is
lot
fair,
of things.
because
yeah.
that's a lot of shit. They're tired. They're busy. They're being
Yeah.
like pulled in a million
Yeah.
directions, not one. Million.
Ah.
And then Harry was like, like, I'm not enjoying this right now. I'm tired, whatever. So this was like the first like kind of real glimpse I feel that they did.
Mhm.
But then
Yeah.
he was saying like, you just have to step back and you need to weigh your pros and cons. And at the end of the day, I want to be doing this. This is what I want to do with my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Niall's like, we're just normal 19 to 21-year-olds with abnormal jobs.
Yeah.
Then they were performing Over Again. And then Harry was talking about how people will say you're famous. And he's like, it's weird to hear that. He's like, I hate it when people say I'm famous. Niall was saying that he worries about people meeting him and only liking him because he's famous and not because of who he is. Like, so it's like hard to judge if someone actually wants to be your friend or actually wants to date you, or if they
Right.
just want you because you're famous. But if you weren't famous and you were just in your hometown, they wouldn't have met you. So it's like a weird, which is
Yeah.
totally understandable, right?
That's why like
Mhm.
most people have like a close knit group of friends
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
artists. Yeah.
Exactly. So then they try to fool the fans. So Niall dresses up as a security guard with this
That was so
beard.
good.
Yeah. I was like, what is happening? What is
And he's
this?
like, whatever. And he's like, oh, you want earplugs? He's like, oh, do you like them? Oh, I like them. Who's your favorite member? Damon. That's not me. And they're like, oh, I don't like them. I was here last night. They're crap. Like, whatever. So he's just like talking to the fans. So I don't think the fans knew it was him, but they were just
No, they're like
Pretty
laughing.
good
Like, who is this
prosthetic
guy?
thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was impressed. And then he's like, oh, fuck it, I'm leaving. And then afterwards, I think they realized, it was him. So now they're performing Kiss You, which was a really good song. And then it has the edited video games and outer space things, and they're like flying. And I think they try and, I don't know what my writing says. But, it's coming out of the screen. So at this point, I'm just like very confused. So now
Yeah.
that I know it was a 3D movie, that makes
Yeah.
sense that the alien stuff is coming out to them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then it just cuts to them randomly camping in Sweden.
Yeah.
yeah,
they,
that
just,
was cool.
they just found a forest and they're like,
Oh,
okay.
sorry. Really quickly. Someone, I think, was it Harry who said that if I didn't have all this, would you still like me? And I was just like,
Yes.
Oh, also
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
that
is
was
sad, right? 'Cause you're
Yeah.
like- yeah, because I feel like obviously you have all the confidence in the world, but you also don't. Like you have a lot
Yeah.
of insecurities because you don't know if people are just using you, right?
Yeah, it's a big ask, right? Because like they're doing so much. Like, no wonder they were kind of
Mhm.
approaching burnout, right? Like,
Yeah.
For
push it out.
That's-
Yeah. Sorry.
that's-
Anyways, they're back in Sweden.
That is crazy. If that 130 shows and what, like,
Oh shit.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like
Right,
Backstreet Boys, right? Like those many years doing
Mhm.
so many shows and so many like things. Of course, you're gonna get burnt out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
You need
yeah.
a break eventually, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
'Cause it's the same shit every night, right? So,
Yeah.
So as they're camping in Sweden, they're now sitting around a fire. And Liam's like, if one of us wasn't in the band,
at first the log, they all were gonna carry it, and then they dropped it on him.
That was so funny.
And he's like, please pick it up.
Thanks a lot, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cute.
Yeah.
That was funny, yeah.
So he's like, if one of us wasn't in the band, would we still be this big? And then Niall's like, no, like we needed the 5 of us type thing.
Sure.
And
I think
then
that's true.
Then Liam starts talking about reverse Benjamin Button, and then they're living all their life now, and then they go back to being normal. So he can't wait to have like a wife and kids eventually, but like, you know. So yeah, so that's that.
So there is an end to this.
And then Zayn says, will we still be mates when we break up?
Ooh, yes.
And they're like, yeah, of course. We've had so many experiences together and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyone care to comment there at that point?
Foreshadowing again, as we said.
Lots of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like they have like a trauma bond, I guess. So like you'll never really
That's
forget
true.
this
That's a good
person,
point.
Yeah.
right?
That's a good way of putting it, trauma bond. So
Yeah, like even though it's successful and famous and you're making money and all that, you're put through grueling tasks, right? So I'm sure that can't be great for your mental health, right?
for sure.
I wonder if like they all talk still, even though like they've said
I think
some
some of
bad
them
things.
do. I think they go through times where they don't. One of their moms passed away, and the other band member didn't reach out or anything. So there was
that
like
sucks. That's sad.
there was some
That's
sort
sad.
of things. Yeah, I don't know. Well, you never know. It's like sometimes you need a break from people. I haven't.
Yeah. Hopefully they can mend the fences down the road.
hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Niall was talking about how so many bands have come and gone, and then Louis was something to be He's like something like they want people to remember them. He's like, it's kind of amazing that people are going to remember us, and he wants them to remember them as normal guys, terrible dancers. And I was like,
Yeah.
correct. Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
I do remember that.
All right.
Yeah. So then for some reason it cuts to, sorry, do you have anything to say about the
No, I was just saying like that's true. We now remember them like that.
That is true. Exactly.
So there you go. Foreshadow again.
There you go.
Yeah. So then it cuts to like a random mariachi band, which I thought
That
was
was
hilarious.
funny.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're like showing this. So I'm not sure what country they're in. Maybe Spain. I don't know. But they show the crowd. And then what stood out to me, so they're like on the roof and they're like, woo, like whatever, was that there was a girl dressed as a carrot. I don't know if you
Oh
guys
my gosh,
noticed
that
her.
was funny. Yeah.
No? Oh
that
my
was
God.
hilarious.
He's wearing this giant fuzzy carrot outfit.
And then I was like,
Bless.
that is us, because you were the
yeah.
chicken and I was, or sorry, you were the banana and I was
Banana.
the chicken. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is us. Yeah.
That's amazing.
At Central Park, I brought a banana costume. So I'm wearing this banana costume, and Sophia's wearing the chicken hat.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I saw Carrot Girl, I was like, Carrot
That's
Girl are my
us.
people, man.
Yeah. I was like that. I was like, oh my God, that's us. Yeah.
That's so
Because you
cute.
gotta stand out from the crowd somehow.
You do.
Yeah, that's
You do.
true.
And because Sophia and I were wearing those things, when they did the footage, they actually
yourself.
had like promoting, I think it was promoting the documentary. They
Yeah.
actually had the clip. I'm like, there we are. We can see
There we
our
are.
fluorescent colors in there. It
And then
wasn't
when
in
Kevin
it.
took a picture on Twitter, I'm like, oh my God, we're there. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so cute.
Kudos,
Oh my God.
Carrot Girl. Good job, buddy.
See? Yeah.
Awesome.
I recognized you.
I did as well.
Yeah. I'm just picturing Diane being like, I don't know who the fuck these people are. Because it's not like you. Yeah, so
You gotta have fun, right?
gotta
Yeah.
have fun. Like, and then I was also telling somebody the other day when we went to that WBFF thing where Nick was performing and Lauren, and then how you and so it was like a bodybuilding competition that Nick's wife
Oh
was
yeah, I
in,
remember that.
Carter.
Yeah.
But Nick Carter was performing like only
The
6
6
songs.
songs. Yeah.
6 songs for 6 hours. Anyways, Sophia and I
And then
were
they
wearing
split it up
those-
3 and 3, and we're like, oh my gosh, yeah.
At one point, I was falling asleep with my eyes open, and the guy's like, "Do you want Nick Carter to come out again?" And I'm like, "For the love of God, yes!" And Sophia's like, "You said that out loud," and I was like, "I did."
Oopsie.
Yes.
But anyways, for that particular event, Sophia and I wore, those like T-shirts that are
Yes.
printed
Yeah.
that have like the bikini bottom.
Yeah.
We did like poses. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're wearing.
Amazing.
So, needless to
time.
say, if you need people to dress like idiots, Sophia and I are number one on your list.
We're your girls.
There.
There you go.
Yeah.
We're there. Anyways, so now they're Zayn's. So Zayn was not on the stage, like on the rooftop with them. The other 4 were there, and he's just like sitting in a room, depressed looking. But then his mom got keys to a house, and it turns out that Zayn bought his mom a house. And
was nice.
she called him and she's like crying and she's like, you work so hard. I'm so proud of you. And then Zayn was talking about, that's why I auditioned for the show, to give back to my mom. So that's what
Which
he was
is so
doing.
nice. Aw.
That's sweet.
Very sweet moment. And then tonight, so then now it goes, tonight is the biggest show ever. There's 65,000 people. Do you guys know where this was? Because I feel like I was writing notes and I missed where the location was.
No, I didn't.
An outdoor fest thing, and there was 65,000 people.
I don't know.
So
Do you
anyway,
think
so they're
Brazil? I don't know.
I
Well,
don't know
Mexico,
where
I
it-
guess.
Or Mexico? I don't
They
know.
finished in Mexico.
I don't know where it finished. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I totally missed the boat on that one. But anyways,
Yeah, I didn't
65,000
hear that
people. There was 40 police cars around their car to get them to this event.
Yeah, the police
And they said that there was
escort,
like
eh?
1,000 police officers in the street.
Yikes.
And then Louis was saying that he was extra nervous because it was double the amount of people to impress. And then everyone was just like excited about how big this arena was and in awe. Zayn is sleeping somewhere, so just like, but the other ones are like popping out, and there's a couple girls already in, and they're like freaking out. And then Liam said that he was sad that his parents weren't going to be there, but he said at least it's going to be in this film, so they'll be able to see the footage of how many people are there and things like that.
That's sweet.
That's true.
So then I wrote a bunch of things, which I think they were all just randomly saying lines because this is like nearing the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So it's like lucky. It was like a 1 in a million chance. If one of us didn't come to the audition, what would have happened?
Yeah.
We're the 5 luckiest dudes. One of the best things about this is now that I have 4 new best friends.
Yeah.
We're 5 brothers. We're there for each other. And they're lucky that one guy wasn't a complete arse in the group and that they actually were all, good. And then they were talking about how the fans completely changed their lives.
Which was so nice to hear.
To hear acknowledgement for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Teamwork between, so he said like the One Direction is a teamwork between us and the fans. So,
I like that. That was so
I thought
nice.
that was a really nice thing.
Yeah.
And then they said you're pretty much got to live the day to day and not to take things too seriously. So, so
Yeah, they looked like they were having a lot of fun, like their
it
backstage
looked like they
antics
were
at
like
least.
having
Yeah.
fun, enjoying. And then Harry said the rest of my life until he wants to perform for the rest of his life until he's like really old and people ask if he's still alive, like Keith Richards.
Oh God.
I was just like, okay.
That was
and then
funny.
then they ended off with performing What Makes You Beautiful.
A good way
And
to
then
end it.
For some reason, Liam pants Harry. Thankfully, he's wearing underwear, but yeah.
That's one way to end it.
Yes. And then they're all bowing. And then for the credits, they played Best Song Ever. And then it showed them. So I guess they like did a lot of dress up because they were dressing up as old people. So like one almost looked like the queen, and they're like walking down with a little cart, and she drops the cart. So then somebody would stop and pick up the cart for them, and then he would just run away. Like,
Yeah, that was funny.
An old woman who's helpless.
Oh
And
my
then,
God.
then Nia was talking about how he records better when he's naked. So he just randomly takes off his shirt. He said that when What Makes You Beautiful, he recorded that just wearing his boxers.
Wow.
So there you go. So they're like, oh, right, Niall. Then there was like one guy dresses up in a fat suit and is wearing like and has like a free hug sign, and he just looks like creepy and sketchy, and he's wearing sweatpants. So then you can see some people are hugging, but most people are like, it turned out
That didn't age well.
Yeah. That one was Louis, so but so some people gave him hugs, and then he was like, oh, give me another hug, and like chasing them down the street. And they're like,
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was something.
then it had 2 of them dressed up as like street performers, like just playing guitar and stuff. And some people were giving them money and stuff. So yeah, so it looked pretty interesting. And then they did some photo shoots and like showing some bloopers and things like that. So that's kind of what they showed in the credits.
Yeah, that was the fun. No, that's good.
Yeah, so there you go. There you go. Overall,
Very good
nice to see them all happy and having fun.
for the most part.
For the most part, it would be interesting for them to redo a documentary in the
Maybe
next
a little
couple years.
darker.
and kind of say like all the bad shit that they've gone through. Like, you know, Liam's kind of a bit of an alcoholic, and you know, like
I think they have to like mend fences together before they can do that.
Yeah.
So then they're like in a good place with each other.
Yeah.
Because if you do it now, fans will be like, oh, why are you saying those kinds of things? And then they'll be like one against the other, and then they'll have to defend them. And
it might be like Mission Man Band, where they weren't quite ready yet. They weren't quite rehabilitated to the point of coming back. Like, so yeah, is absolutely right. Spot on.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a few more years from that, but looking forward to seeing that documentary. And
absolutely,
they still have a bond and can connect and things like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the movie is One Direction. This Is Us. So if you want to check it out, it is currently on Netflix. So there you go.
Well done.
Any last minute thoughts, or should we wrap up?
I think that's good. If you want to say something else, go ahead.
Thanks for taking a break with us, guys.
Until next time.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.